making this video was really difficult, but I promised myself that I was going to, so let's just get this show on the road. Hi, I'm Zanny. I make content about cats, crafts, and reveal the truths about mental health that most people won't talk about. And today I am going to tell you 5 statements about mental health and mental health related things that I believe to be true, that I think might make you angry, and I am not going to give you any extra context for now. So if you've been here since the beginning of my channel, you might be thinking this is a little bit strange because from the beginning, my whole goal in being here is to have nuance, to have discussions, to dive deep into different concepts. That is still true. And eventually I will make a video on each of these 5 things, breaking it down entirely. But one of the things that I have noticed about myself recently is that I have spent a lot more energy than I think is healthy on worrying about how perfectly I am phrasing something. And, I will often add statements to what I'm saying to be extremely clear that I'm only talking about my own experience. This may not be true for you. And while most of the time when I say those things, I do believe what I'm saying, one of the things that has been bothering me lately is that I often feel like I'm saying it not because I want to make something clear, but because I'm afraid that if I don't say that thing, then people will have a negative reaction and leave me a mean comment. And the funny thing about all of that is that I've been getting mean comments for a long time because I'm the host of another show that's doing relatively well. And so, we get mean comments every day. And I think it's been the switch from being in a group to being by myself that now there's a little bit more nervousness because I'm not part of a team. It's just me out here. And so the nerves and anxiety that I might be perceived negatively is kind of started to go up a little bit. And I think one of the problems of sort of the way that social media and the internet is these days is that it's twofold. Often information is only given in these little bites out of context. So we don't really have a lot to go on. But then the second thing is that a lot of the times we're not using our critical thinking skills. We see a statement out of context. We assume we know exactly what the speaker was intending, and then we have some sort of reaction, sometimes not so polite. So, in this exercise, I'm kind of doing like an exposure therapy. I want to prove to myself that even if I don't give you the full context of something, and even if somebody has a negative reaction, doesn't agree with me, that I will be okay. And the second part of this is for you as the audience, if you're so inclined to hear some statements out of context and practice using your critical thinking skills to consider what are some possible arguments for why I might think that way. And I don't mean like you have to come up with arguments you agree with. I just mean come up with a couple of different reasons why I might think that. Mostly because I think a lot of the times and a lot of the miscommunications that happen between people happen because of assumptions, because we think we understand what someone means. And like I've had whole arguments with people before because they said something to me. I thought it meant A, and their intention, what they were trying to say was B, right? And I'm stalling. I am stalling a little bit because this makes me very nervous, but okay. So here are the 5 things. I'm not going to couch these statements. I'm not going to say anything else. And some of these things you might be like, why is this such a big deal? But these are some of the things that I've seen other people talk about these things in different contexts. And so I know there are people out there who have extremely opposing opinions to me on these things. So And I'm very specific in my language. BT dubs. Okay, stop stalling. Stop stalling. Okay, number 1. Invalidation can be a good thing. Number 2. Sometimes that doesn't work for me really means I don't want to do the work. 3. Self-diagnosis is not as equally valid as a professional diagnosis. 4. Overpathologizing average human behavior is making and keeping people sick. Self-awareness without true self-honesty is meaningless for recovery. So, those are the things. I will explain them later. But yeah, I just felt really stuck in always qualifying everything I say. And while I do think that all this clear communication is important, I think in order for me to break out of this box of being so worried about what people think of me, I'm just going to put out there what I think. And let the chips fall where they may, because this is what I actually think. These are some things that I actually believe. And these are things that I think contributed to the relative mental health recovery success that I have had. So, see, look, I'm qualifying it there. I said I wasn't going to qualify them, and I kind of lied because I kind of just did. See how hard it is, though? I think especially given my history, you know, that I used to have a really severe personality disorder. I feel a lot of the times like I have to qualify everything because part of it is I'm terrified that if I upset somebody, then they're gonna say, oh, you know, whatever you think, all of this that you're being, this is just your BPD. This is just you showing that you're mentally ill. And so, yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about being really open with what I think, but this is the first step. So that is what it is. So and I don't know when I will get to all 5 of these things. Some of them will be sooner than others. But yeah, those are 5 things that I think. And I guess this is technically not like a revealing the truths about mental health. This is a Zanny's exposure therapy moment that I am inviting you to join me on this journey. But I think that right now, especially, I think we live in a time where, because people are so aggressive about some of these things, we let the fear of what other people think about what we think dictate what we say. And I think that the only way we're going to move beyond that is if we're actually willing to share with other people the things we think are true, even if not everyone's going to agree or like it. Because from my perspective, I think that if there's a difference in my mind between what I would call masking and just being polite, right? Like, I don't think that the solution to some of these issues is that we just say unfiltered every thought that comes to our mind, because not every thought needs to be an outside thought. And that's sort of the politeness side of this. But there's masking where it would be appropriate to share what you think about something, but you don't because you're afraid of other people's reaction. And that's the part that I want to challenge with this. So I encourage you also, if you have an opinion about something that you've been scared to share out loud, I mean, you're welcome to comment whatever, but I was just thinking that for the sake of this exercise, I was thinking mostly within the mental health realm. But yeah, so, and with that, if you haven't seen any of my videos yet, at the end of every video, I like to introduce you to one of my cats. because cats are cute and adorable and they make life better. So I've actually introduced all of my cats in previous videos. So today I'm going to show you one of my favorite things in the whole world, which is my cat Crimson and his love for his stuffed toy snakes. Check it out. This is Crimson. He is 14. He's a strange one. So last year we got 3 kittens and we got them a bunch of new toys. And Crimson has historically not been super interested in toys. He likes to play with pipe cleaners or boxes. So we hadn't thought to get him anything like this. But when we got the kittens, we wanted to see what they were into. So we got them this fabric snake, and Crimson is obsessed. He will grab it and he will yowl and he will carry it all over the house. And sometimes I think he's showing off his snake. Sometimes I think he's bringing me an offering. I've never seen a cat do this before with a stuffed animal. I know that cats will sometimes bring, offerings to their people. I've never seen this before, but I gotta say it is adorable and makes me love him all the more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this gives you something to think about moving forwards with your week. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. Even if you don't agree with some of the things that I said, that's totally fine. I'm open for the discussion, so let me know. And I will see you next time.